Hello and welcome to Ageless and Active. In this next section we're going to be concentrating on feet and ankles, and we're going to be starting, well, the exercises are mostly standing, so you need a chair. Make sure that it's not going to slip in front of you, that if you're on carpet, the carpet's not slippery. And I've got bare feet. But you don't have to have bare feet if your feet are cold. Then you can wear socks, but again, just make sure that they are maybe the socks with the little rubbery bits underneath them so the socks aren't slippery. So, standing, slightly behind a chair, not so far away from the chair that you're leaning on it, standing upright, but holding onto the back of the chair, and then just beginning to exercise your feet and ankles by lifting one heel away from the floor. So just bending the knee. So you need to be standing enough away from the chair to allow that knee to bend and pick up your heel. And then if that's not painful in your ankle, then you can begin to press down a little bit with the toes. So you have to engage the thigh muscles and you're pressing down the toe, putting weight into those toe bones. Again, you could, push a little bit more vigorously. It depends on how your ankles feel today. And if you feel that it's appropriate, and I'll turn to the side so that you can clearly see, then you might want to put a bit of weight into that ankle and stir that ankle. So I'm making small circles with my knee. So I'm stirring my toe bones into the ground, beginning to stretch in the ankle, and then you can make those circles go in the opposite direction. Obviously 1 foot at a time, and if you're holding onto the chair to stay steady, that's absolutely fine. So picking the heel up and just making circles with the knee. The rest of me is not really moving, just the knee. Pushing those toe bones and a few in the opposite direction. Okay. And then, if you feel it's appropriate, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can continue to lift 1 foot from the floor. Then you can lift both heels away from the floor and come up to your tiptoes. Again, I've got the chair in front of me, so I'm not worried about balancing. And then I can continue to keep going up and down. You can feel the back of your legs start to working. And you can also feel the muscles in the back of the calves. Some of you might want to lift and hold it for a little while, but take care that those ankles aren't shaking or trembling, okay? Any sign of stress in the ankles, put your heels down. Lifting those heels, pressing the toe down, you can feel the knees working, muscles all the way down the legs working. Hold it and drop the ankles when your legs get tired. One more time then. Lifting those ankles as high as you can. Hold the position, but don't hold your breath. And then when you're ready, settling the heels into the floor. And again, 1 foot at a time. Without lifting my heel up, trying to lift the front of my foot away from the floor. So a completely different set of muscles here, all down the front of your leg. So start 1 foot at a time. Again, the rest of me is not moving. If you find that in order to do this, your bottom is going backwards, then you might be cheating. So try and keep your shoulders above your hips. And again, if you think it's appropriate, without sticking your bottom out, maybe lifting the toes away from the floor. If you can lift and hold, then that's great. But again, make sure you're not shaking. And lower the toes when your legs start to get uncomfortable. So you're lifting the toes, maybe spreading the toes wide if you can, so you feel like your feet are also now stretching. And then toes to the ground, maybe up onto those toes. So again, with a bit of practice, you might be able to roll your weight back onto the heels and then all the way across the feet onto the toes. Again, I'm using the chair to help me stay steady. And I'm trying to keep the rest of me in a nice straight line. Okay, one more time then, up onto the tiptoes and then all the way back. So now we're going to turn to the side of the chair. So you're going to hold onto the chair with your left hand and turn through 90 degrees to the right. So you're standing with your left leg nearest the chair. And again, make sure you're not leaning into it. So you don't want to be standing too far away from that chair. You want to be standing close enough to the chair that you can comfortably rest some of your weight through your arm onto the back of the chair. Because you're going to need to be able to move the right leg away from you. So make sure there's nothing too close to you to the right. And then I'm going to just gently press down firmly with my left leg. Make sure my left leg feels ready. And when it feels ready, then you can begin to peel your heel away from the floor, maybe coming up to your tiptoe like we did before. And if it feels okay and your left ankle's not complaining and there's no pain in your left knee or hip, then maybe just picking that right foot off the floor. And you can just repeat that a few times. Getting your left leg stronger each time you do that, because briefly, while you're standing on your left leg, you're carrying twice as much weight on it as you normally do. So there's no need to do it too many times. Make sure rather that you're not moving your shoulders, okay, because then you're using momentum rather than muscle. And then when your left leg starts to complain, then you need to turn around. Again, make sure your right leg this time is ready and you're not standing too far away from the chair, keeping your shoulders still. Peel your left foot away from the floor. If you're comfortable and your ankle is steady, you can lift your foot and then maybe repeatedly a few times picking your left leg up. You don't need to bring that knee very high. Some of you might even be able to hold it. Make sure you're holding the position, not the breath. Standing down and returning back to 2 feet whenever you feel like your standing leg needs a rest. So you can do this a few times. Continue to turn around. Notice that the higher you lift your knee, the more effort is required in the knee, the thigh, and the hip. So again, don't lift the leg so high that it's trembling or shaking. And again, just lifting the legs. Turning around and doing the same on the other side. Each time you lift your leg, that standing leg is getting a bit stronger. Okay, come back to the start. This time I'm going to lift my leg away from me. Okay, so keeping my hand on the hip or thigh. Again, try and keep your shoulders still and just lifting that leg. It doesn't have to come up very high. Some of you might be able to hold it lifted, but again, make sure it's not painful. And when that leg is tired, normally it's my standing leg that starts to complain. You turn around and you start lifting. Again, I'm trying not to turn, try not to swivel. If you swivel your shoulders, you put unnecessary tension in the knee. So just lifting, maybe holding that lift if you can, but make sure it's not painful, and putting both feet on the ground when you need a rest. So again, just keep turning around, lifting that leg as if I've got an elastic band around my ankles and I'm trying to pull that elastic band. And the other leg, one more time, lifting the leg to the side. So you can feel this is working on the area around your buttock and hip. Okay, come back facing your chair. And then I'm going to lift the foot behind me. So I'm going to lift the leg and lift it behind me. Again, it doesn't have to lift very high. Again, you need to make sure that you're not twisting or you're not leaning. Okay, so try and keep the leg lifting behind. As soon as you take your heel behind, you start to feel the muscles in the back and hip working just that little bit higher. Maybe keep it lifted. Make sure your standing leg's not complaining. Standing down and back on both feet whenever you need a rest. So again, there's no need to turn. So if you feel that you're lifting that leg by swiveling the hips, try and keep the hips steady, yeah? So you're not twisting in the spine or putting the twist in the knee. A few more times with each leg, lifting the legs, trying to lift the toes away from the floor, keeping that leg as straight as you can. Okay, good. And then come back to the center. So you're holding your chair with one hand. Again, when you're standing next to a chair, always make sure you stand on the leg that you're nearest the chair. And then I'm going to lift the foot off the floor completely and circle the ankle. So just the ankle, not the whole lower leg. Don't move the whole leg. Try and keep the knee still. You might find it easier to put your hand on the thigh. Circles in both directions, trying to keep your knee and thigh bones still. So you're using all the muscles in the ankle and quite a lot of the muscles in your calf and up to the knee. And then we'll turn around. So you're standing on the right leg next to your chair. Pick up your left foot when you're ready and turn the toes. So big a circle as you can without straining. Trying to keep your thigh bone still. You might want to put your hand on the thigh bone. And the other direction. Again, only standing on one leg for as long as you are comfortable. You can put your foot down at any time. Turn and do the other side. Again, if you're steady, this time when you circle, you can circle the whole of your leg, the whole of your lower leg. So I'm trying to keep the knees still and draw a circle with my foot. You don't have to look down to know what your foot is doing. Change directions. And then when that standing leg is tired, turn around. We'll do it the other side. Keeping the knees still and the thigh bone still, drawing a circle with your foot. And the other way. Again, quite a lot of muscle required here to keep that leg lifted. So don't do it for too long. As soon as you notice any trembling or shaking, stand on 2 feet, give your legs a rest. Okay. So now I need to turn my chair around, or you can walk around the other side of your chair. So now you're standing in front of your chair, and I'm going to stand in front of my chair as if I was going to sit on my chair, and then look down at your feet. Again, make sure your feet are both facing forward. If they're not, you might find that when you bend your knees point over your ankles. So your knees will be splaying out to the side. So trying to keep your feet parallel might be helpful. And then I'm going to bend the knees, start to feel the muscles in the thighs working, start to reach downwards and backwards with your tailbone until you're just about to sit, and then change your mind and stand back up again. Okay, so we're going to do that 5 more times. We've done half a dozen in total. So you need only bend the knees as far as they're comfortable, reaching downwards towards the chair, and then up. So every time you defy gravity and put those brakes on, you're having to clench those thigh muscles. Again, make sure there's nothing painful or nothing trembly about the knees. You don't need to go down so far you are trembling and shaking. Every time you stand, give those legs a while to rest. As low as you can go, as if you're almost sitting, and then all the way up again. And you can do this as many times as you like. Make sure you're not holding your breath or clenching your teeth. As low as you can go. And last time, this time we're going to sit. So all the way down. And then when you release, make sure you've got your chair there behind you. You can put your bottom on the chair. Feet in front of you. Again, I'm perched on the edge of my chair. And I'm going to give my thighs a good wobble. So I'm shaking my knees now so that my thigh muscles are all wobbly. And if you feel that your thigh muscles aren't very wobbly, you can give them a wobble. So making the thigh muscles let go of the bone all the way along the thigh, and the other one. And again, this is to restore the circulation to the muscles in the thighs. Okay, so once you have restored those legs and the legs feel quite settled again, then we're going to do a little jog. So I'm doing a little tiny micro jog. My feet aren't picking up very high. You can concentrate on going a bit faster. We're going to keep this going for a few more seconds. And then resting. Okay, so there's tingling in the feet, maybe going all the way down to the calf muscles as well. No pain in the knees, didn't pick my feet up very high at all. So I've got feel my whole legs now waking up. So once you've done a bit of micro jogging, then maybe, and again, make sure you don't lean back in the chair, okay? If you find yourself leaning back when you lift your knees, then you need some support in the lumbar spine, okay? So maybe sitting a little further back and putting, I've got a rolled up towel here, it's just a normal hand towel I've rolled up. So I'm going to put that rolled up towel behind my back, just to prevent me from slouching into that chair. And then I'm going to find the muscles I need to lift my thighs away from the chair. So I'm just lifting the leg. And as soon as you lift the leg, you can feel the muscles, particularly here, down the side of your flank and in your hip working. Okay, so just lifting that leg, picking your thigh bones up away from the chair. Again, you don't have to hold that lift for very long because it's difficult. If you can lift that thigh bone, put your hands behind the thigh bone to help you lift that thigh bone. Then you can maybe knit your fingers so your hands won't slip. Again, try not to slouch forward, try and keep your shoulders up. And then you can swing that leg. So that leg, as it extends, will be exercising the muscles around the knee. And this is really useful exercise for those of you with difficult knees. It really is an excellent way to increase the strength of the muscles that support the knee without putting the knee under any weight or pressure at all. Okay, so swinging the leg only for as long as it's comfortable. As soon as your hip or thigh begin to complain, put that leg down. Do the other side. Lift the leg, extend, swinging that heel away. Trying to keep the movement of the upper body still. Okay, there's no need to feel your shoulders rocking from side to side. Again, the longer you lift that leg, the greater the effort. So make sure you're not doing anything that's making you out of breath. And when that leg feels heavy and doesn't feel like swinging anymore, put it down. And again, go back to that thigh wobble. Okay, so wobbling the thighs, so you let the blood circulate into the thigh muscles. Again, I'm going to lean forward a bit, maybe have my feet further away, and then I'm going to slap my thighs. And if you can, as long as you keep your bottom glued to that chair, you could go all the way up and down the back of your leg, maybe down the front and up the back. Down your leg, slapping the thighs and the other leg, maybe all the way down to the ankle, maybe only as far as the knee. That's entirely up to you, as long as you keep your bottom glued to the chair so that you don't fall forward off it. Okay, and then put your knees under the hips, or sorry, knees above the ankles. Okay, so gently then pressing the feet into the floor, just so you feel your leg muscles are turned on. Again, if you want to use the back of the chair to help support the back or your lumbar support, you can. This is just to prevent you slouching and sinking backwards, letting the lumbar spine take too much strain. So using the muscles in the back, so you're sitting nice and upright. Again, try not to lean your weight from side to side. Try and stay settled, even though you're going to lift one foot from the floor. You want to keep equal weight in the hips. Lifting a foot, holding behind the leg, just to support the weight of that leg. And then again, one foot at a time, twiddling the ankle in both directions. So a lot of muscles you need around the knee to turn that ankle a full circle. Again, try and keep your thigh bone still. And we'll do the other leg. Again, don't have to lift the foot that high from the floor. You don't have to look down at your foot. You can maybe focus on keeping that knee absolutely still, turning a few circles in each direction. And then park that foot on the floor. Again, press down evenly and gently, but firmly with both feet so you feel the leg muscles engage. Press that footprint down into the floor. If you feel you're slouching, lengthen up your spine and just notice how those legs feel now that we've given them something to work on. Thank you very much. So if you would like to see the rest of my exercises on this Ageless and Active channel, please do.